2020, 2020. My goodness, what a hell of a year this was. I mean, lots of twists and turns, and a lot of just a lot of problems that's taking place. It's like, what's one more problem that we're gonna have? I mean, we started off the year bad enough that Donald Trump is still the president. I mean, that in itself was bad. Um, and then we had freaking COVID-19 pretty much shut the economy down and caused this pandemic caused deaths in the United States, and of course the United States government handled it the most stupid way you can imagine. And we're talking about people from both parties didn't handle it correctly, whereas everybody else did. I mean, when you have a country, it has universal health care already, that is a problem that's already resolved in its own. And then they provided some kind of UBI, or they provided, when people were laid off, that the government still paid them their wages anyway. What did the United States do? We gave $4.5 trillion to damn corporations. Some of them are not even American corporations on top of that. And, for all this talk that Donald Trump talked about draining the swamp was not drained. In fact, he added more to swamp water to the swamp that existed. So, and then of course, let's not forget we had primaries in the Democratic Party where corporate Democrats, and I'm not being partisan. I'm going to shit on Trump and the Republicans in this commentary, but I'm going to shit on the Dems for a second. They went and stolen the nomination from Bernie Sanders and cheated several other controversial candidates in the primaries too. So you have a lot of corruption that's taking place from both parties, and both parties are posturing themselves as they normally do, and the American people are fucked in the ass as we normally get without any lubricants or anything like that. So this is the United States in a nutshell in the year 2020. And on top of that, the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. From my historical perspective, even though she was not appointed during the Eisenhower, Kennedy, or Johnson years, she was the last vestige of the Earl Warren Court as we known it to exist decades ago. She was the last reminder of it. And so we are now stuck with a vacant court seat. And what happens? In 2016, when Anthony Scalia died, Mitch McConnell, biggest asshole in the Senate right now, one of the biggest assholes, period, in the country. Yeah, I call Mitch McConnell an asshole because that's what he is. Fuck him. But anyway, Mitch McConnell, you play politics, being the partisan hack piece of shit that he is, and put a stop to a milquetoast justice a potential justice by the name of Merrick Garland by Barack Obama, to basically just to spit on Obama and to in the hopes that there will be a Republican president sworn in the year 2021, in January 2021, which is exactly what happened. And now you had the courts being stacked up again. History repeating itself. This is what happened during the days of Ronald Reagan and George Bush Sr. The courts got stacked hard to the right. It did. And what happens in the year 2017 to the present, the courts are getting, again, stacked hard to the right. I mean, for a while, the Supreme Court was starting to balance itself out. It wasn't a Supreme Court that I found ideal, but it was balanced, or kind of fairly balanced. I wanted a resurgence of the Warren Court, and if anybody doesn't know about the Earl Warren Court, it was the time period from the 1950s until 1970, when civil liberties, individual rights were expanded to people. Freedom of expression, greatest amount of freedom of expression granted. This is what the court did. It actually made America a hell of a lot more free. And the people who wanted to put a stop to that were mostly the religious right and just a bunch of standard right wingers who wanted to roll back a lot of the right and just a bunch of standard right wingers who wanted to roll back a lot of the civil rights, civil liberty gains, but also wanted to roll back to destroy hard-won democratic rights for unions, to destroy hard-won democratic rights for unions and the labor movement and the welfare state as we more or less know it in the United States. They want to get rid of all that and carry us back to the 19th century. And I am not playing with hyperbole. That is exactly what they want to do. And right now we are in danger. Our democracy is very much in danger. And Mitch McConnell, I mean, both Donald Trump has authoritarian impulses. So does Mitch McConnell. So here is the dilemma about this Supreme Court seat. If the Democrats had any freaking balls about them in the Senate, they would do everything they can to obstruct. Do everything you can to obstruct. Do not let the right wing call you divisive and you go, we're not being divisive. We want to play patty cake. We want to get along. Don't do that. You stand up. Chuck Schumer, since you're an asshole for the most part, I don't like you. Please, for the love of God, please be an asshole. Not just in public, virtue signaling. Stop okaying the judges of Trump. Stop basically passing his legislative agenda in the Senate. Same thing too in the House, Nancy Pelosi. You know, I mean, I'd be more impressed, Speaker Pelosi, if you would have ripped up Trump's military budget instead of ripping up his speech. You know, I don't give a damn about his speech. It's the military budget that I'm concerned about. Is the reauthorizing the Patriot Act? Is basically, you know, okaying the judges as they do in the Senate. So I mean, you know, all the things they exist to sit there and they want to sit there and call Trump an asshole in public. And of course, his feelings get hurt because he's a thin-skinned little bitch. But at the same time, they go, okay, his legislative agenda. And if someone comes along in the Democratic Party or outside the Democratic Party to call bullshit, the corporate Democrats do everything they can to smear anybody who questions it. And that's where we're at today. This is where we're at. But here's the thing. With the civil war that's going on within the Democratic Party between the Bernie Sanders wing and the Clinton-esque corporate Democrats, if there's one thing that can unite the corporate Democrats and the Sandinistas, what a nice name, the Bernie craps would be RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This seat is up for grabs, the Supreme Court seat. It was already stolen in 2016. We must not ever allow the Republican right-wing people to steal another Supreme Court seat from us again. So do what you can. Do everything you can in your power to put a stop to this. And this is why, you know, if I have to sum up in one sentence, and there's a bunch of reasons why I'm going to vote for a bastard that I despise, Joe Biden. There's all kinds of reasons. But if I have to sum it down to one sentence or one name, I tell people I'm doing this for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I said that when she was alive. I even mean it even more now that she's dead. And got to do this for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The poor woman remained as long as she could, and she was remaining as long as she could. Now I would basically said maybe she should have stepped down during the Obama years because she had health problems as it was, and probably could have done it fairly early during the Obama presidency, and we would not be with this problem that we have right now with Mitch McConnell calling the shots. I do not want to see another victory for Mitch McConnell, who is the most dangerous man in America as far as I'm concerned. And some of the liberals are going to get mad at me, but I would even venture to say he's probably more dangerous than Donald Trump, because Donald Trump makes him way more dangerous. But even if Donald Trump wasn't in the picture, and you had a piece of milk toast, nothing like Marco Rubio or Jeb Bush in the White House or Chris Christie, Mitch McConnell will still be dangerous, and the country will still be looming further and further right. If it would have been Hillary Clinton, who is still, to me, in my opinion, she's a Republican. If she would have been the president with Mitch McConnell as the Senate Majority Leader, well, it was still been about the same thing with Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio and Chris Christie or someone like that in the Oval Office. So anyway, here's the thing: we need to talk about possible solutions. And so, what happens? We don't know how this election is going to be. What happens if Biden wins? If Biden wins in November and Joe Biden is sworn in January 2021. And I am not sure how it can be done, and I need to do some research on this. But it was attempted before. When Franklin Roosevelt was president, he was trying to pack the court up with 6 more justices in the Supreme Court. Now, from an ideological perspective, under FDR, if FDR would have achieved that, the New Deal would have gotten a whole lot further. Which, of course, from my perspective, I tell people not only was Franklin Delano Roosevelt the greatest president we ever had, the problem with Franklin Roosevelt is his New Deal didn't go far enough. Yes, libertarians. Yes, economic conservatives within the Republican Party, Reaganomics advocates. Yes, I said it, that the New Deal didn't go far enough. And I'll say it again 100 times if you like, or if you don't like. But the thing about it is, FDR attempted to pack the courts with 6 more justices. Now, this is a catch-22 because, yeah, FDR could have succeeded in doing that, and he would have obviously put 6 more justices in the court. I mean, and I'm just, I mean, how nice it would have been, that this country would actually end up economically and socially looking more like Western Europe today than we do currently had that happen. But here's the slippery slope. We don't know how old these judges would have been and how long they would have lasted, and who was to say that we could have had an Eisenhower or a Stevenson in the White House, a Kennedy or a Nixon, or would have been Johnson or Goldwater, Nixon again, or Humphrey, or anyway, from the time of FDR all the way to Trump. We would have probably had a few different presidents, and some of these court justices would not have lived long enough. And depending on who was in power at the moment, we could have seen what would happen under Reagan and Bush 1, and the ugly scenario of a 15-seat courts, and what would have happened if Reagan and Bush 1 would have stacked the courts with enough justices to tilt the court toward the right. So when you're having 15 people to deal with the courts, that's going to be, that's just going to be a tougher battle. So I'm kind of on the fence of whether we should do this or not. But at the same time, I want to win. I'm so tired as a leftist of losing not only to the right-wing Republicans, but losing to the corporate Democrats who just basically are what I like to call Republicans with that are kind of liberal on social issues. So we need to do something, and I'm just not sure what can be done. But here's the thing: court packing. I would like to, if anybody would be able to comment on this, if you don't mind, please tell me what you think of court packing, because I want to revisit the subject again down the road. And so if Biden wins, I want to make sure that the Republicans will be having the toughest time trying to reverse the court in this way. So I would say that if it's possible, if Biden wins, to expand the courts, expand them to yeah, again, add another 6 seats, 15 seats in the court. So you'll have a Biden or even a Harris that will appoint these justices. Now, here's the thing. I mean, and I'm not even going to act like that they're going to be like the best type of people to appoint, but still, it will give the left a little bit of wiggle room, and we will have, and we won't be losing as many battles. And as I said before, if there's one thing that unites the Bernie Sanders wing of the Democratic Party and the Hillary Clinton wing, is that that's important to have the right justice fill in the seats on the courts, at the very least, on social issues. Um, but right now our democracy, as it is in danger of slipping away. Now, as I said, you know, um, the solution I would like to find. I don't know what can be done. So I basically gave you the scenario of expanding the season. FDR tried and it was rejected. And what it could mean for today. And I mentioned the pros and cons. But it still relates back to RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And the priority number one right now for the left is to put a stop to Mitch McConnell. We need to put a stop to this monster, because I mean he is this ghoul, this ghoul who has the power as Senate Majority Leader to manipulate the agenda. When the Democrats ever take back the Senate, they need to redraw the rules to make sure another Mitch McConnell never abused the power the way he's abused his power all these years. So, in a nutshell, I'm just not sure what should be done at this point. But I'm just thinking now there are people out there that are going to be like, well, you just can't take on the right wing and blah blah blah. The agenda. You just want the courts to have an activist agenda. Well, here's the thing: when the right wing accuses liberals, centrists, and the entire left of wanting a judicially activist court, so does the right wing. I remember hearing years ago that Ronald Reagan, went to Jerry Falwell to console him on what kind of Supreme Court justice to put in the courts. That should make you shiver, and that should make you concerned, especially if you're on the left. I mean, do you want? And I mean, it's bad enough, as I said, with Trump being bad enough as it is. So that scenario, Reagan consulting with Jerry Falwell, what happens if Trump is reelected and then he is out of office because he's not healthy? What if he dies while he's in office, or if he's removed from office, or what have you? You have Mike Pence that's going to be appointing judges, and that's a far more dangerous scenario than even Donald Trump right now. That's a far more dangerous scenario. And so, courts appointees do matter. It matters on basis of civil liberties, individual rights, free speech, freedom of religion, freedom from religion, the whole kit and caboodle. But it also matters for things like labor rights, economic regulations, campaign finance, that sort of thing. So there's a whole lot that is at stake with this election, and it's just food for thought, and it's just and everything is pretty much an emergency because of the southern passing away of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. If you like what you heard, please if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. If you hate it and you're triggered by it, please comment anyway. If you have a platform, or you desire to have a platform as a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to urge you to do so, because we're the muckrakers of our time. And most importantly, subscribe. Please subscribe. We're going up and up in subscription. and this channel is starting to show its potential in the left to bread to sphere of things. Um, so I'm asking you to please subscribe. And as an aside note, as we grow, I'm going to let everybody know that I'm keeping the URL. It's going to remain youtube.com/social democracy social forward slash. But I'm going to be changing the name from social democracy to something else because it's just an algorithm thing, and it's just a name that I want to be recognized with, and for the algorithm reasons, I'm doing this. And once that happens, that's going to be the name I am stuck with, and so you all been warned. So anyway, as I said, subscribe most importantly, but like, comment, or comments you don't like, um, and subscribe and share this content. By all means, share this content, and we'll have a conversation. And until next time, peace. Bernie Sanders for president in the year 2024.